우리가 5, 4, 3, 1 할 게 별로 많지 않아요. 지금부터 합니다. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. 아, 1까지만 하시는군요, 보통. 자, 다섯 번째 세트.
Welcome to Bel'Shir Vestige Ladder Edition. Spawning up in the top left-hand position, the green player from SK Telecom T1 with the Samsung Con logo. It looks like he picked that wrong. It is Brown. This is his first appearance in Pro League, and for some reason he thinks he's playing on Samsung Con, but no, he is actually playing for SK Telecom T1.
Well, at least it does showcase some of the different logos that we have. But spawning on the bottom right position as the red Protoss with the KT logo, his name is Zest.
Indeed it is. So Zest, like you said, spawning in the bottom right-hand position. This is going to be a PvP match, and on this map, really, you know, PvP, you can go a lot of different things. You can open up with the Phoenix. You can go for the Stalker pressure. DTs are actually quite common right now in PvP from what I've noticed as well. So there's just, right now, I think the hardest thing about PvP is there's so many different openings. There's so many different things you can do.
Yeah, JYP was actually complaining about how PvP got so much harder because everyone was saying when he plays on ladder, everyone goes for the 15 double gas, and it's hard to scout what they're going to go for. When you go for the double gas and have 3 on each, you could go for Stargate. You could, like you said, Stargate, DT, anything is possible, and it's harder to scout your opponent and play accordingly.
Indeed it is, and we have some Korean stats down here.
Now, when it comes to 2013 inside Korea official matches, Zest is 7-5. He is 3-3 in PvP. His opponent Brown has no record. However, he did win the Iron Squid 2 Korean qualifiers against Life 4-1. There was a slight bit of controversy.
4-1.
There was a controversy with that one because Life threw one of the games away because of the Korean law.
Oh, that's right. Actually, if you're underage in Korea, you're not allowed to play video games after a certain hour.
But this is not the stream to complain about it. That's for my personal Twitter that I probably will tweet and complain about later today.
All right, well, let's go ahead and focus on this game here. It looks like Brown, he is scouting across the map here. Gonna potentially look, this is actually a little bit of a different scouting pattern on this map, but you know, I think he's looking for potential proxies. So just, you know, moving around the map there. Cybernetic score on the way for his opponent, Zest. I almost called him Pikachu there.
Yeah. I actually think for the ladder edition, it's just it's the right path if you just right-click inside your opponent's space. If you scout from the top, you go towards the left side. If you scout from the bottom, you go towards the right side. And sometimes players would actually switch the positions a little bit to see if your opponent's moving up the map.
Oh, sorry, that was a big mistake by me. My apologies. But let's go ahead. See, we have a Stargate on the way from Brown, and that's actually a very fast Stargate. He's being pretty greedy on that, but I like that he opted to scout his opponent out a little bit before going for that Stargate. And now we have a Mothership Core being sent out from KT's Zest, and he also is sending out a Stalker as well. He went for the double Stalker Gate, so he's going to actually have a lot of anti-air prepared for Brown.
Now, Brown does have the 3 gateways up, but he only has 1 Stalker. He doesn't have a Mothership Core. This might be really scary for Brown.
It is, and we also have a Stargate follow-up from Zest as well. So this is going to be kind of awkward, I think, for Brown, because he's at a point where he does have a slightly faster timing, but that doesn't matter because he has to be on the defensive, and we do have an Oracle on the way for Brown. A little bit risky because his opponent is going for Stargate as well, and if he opts to go for a Phoenix first, that means that the Oracle is essentially going to die to nothing. But look at this. Brown is going to be able to get into his opponent's space and get a perfect scout off. He's going to see exactly what's going on here. He's going to be able to scout the Stargate as well. And that's going to tell him so much valuable information.
And he's making an Oracle, which means that he can't defend the first Oracle. Where are the Stalkers? He needs some Stalkers inside the main base. He's actually returning right now, but here is the Oracle, and those Oracles are quite fast.
Indeed, they are. Now, the Stalkers, they're going to be able to intercept the Oracle, and now it looks like Zest, he knows exactly what's coming for him. That Oracle, how much damage we'll be able to do. There's a Phoenix on the way for both players right there, and I think this Oracle, he's going to be able to potentially get a kill or two, but that's going to be it.
Seems like he actually didn't send the Stalkers back inside, and that gives Brown some extra few time to snipe 1 or 2 probes, and also forces Zest to pull his probes off the mineral line for a few seconds.
So 4 probes were killed there, and both players were able to, both players invested into the Oracle tech. So essentially, I don't think the Oracle from Zest is going to do too much damage. He's opting to get that expansion up now, and it looks like we're just going to slowly move into a macro PvP game here with both players going for heavy air.
Well, Zest is looking a little bit further into the game while getting a Nexus and getting a second Stargate.
Ooh. Oh, actually, one thing I do want to point out about this strategy is if Brown decides to just go for a 1 base all-in, which he's not going to do now. He's putting down the Nexus, but if he opted for that, there is a small timing window where he could potentially defeat his opponent by just sheer number of units, but he's not going to go for that. He's going to go ahead and get the expansion up himself, also getting a Mothership Core pretty late, actually, but he is opting to get that, and yeah, I'm still waiting for that second Stargate from him, though. I would like to see that up momentarily.
Now, back in PvP, when it came to Stargate, it was always about Phoenix versus Phoenix. With Heart of Swarm coming in, we have you could go into Void Race later in the game. So, when is the point when you switch into Void Race, and when is the point when you just keep massing Phoenix?
Well, here's the thing: if you and your opponent are both going Phoenix, you pretty much have to stick with the Phoenix. You can't actually switch in the Void Rays because you won't ever be able to hit a critical mass where you can outproduce your opponent, because the Void Rays, they're doubled the supply. They do all right against Phoenixes, but generally the player who has the higher Phoenix count will end up winning the battle. And it's just, there's so many variables that get thrown in, you know. If you have an even fight between the Phoenix, does one player reinforce with a ton of gateway units, or do you go back to the Phoenix production? Do you try to just go for the Void Rays? There's so many different possible scenarios that are going to happen, but in this case here, I think we're going to see both players simply mass up a humongous Phoenix ball, and then essentially from there, we're going to have 1 big battle, maybe 2, and that will decide the victor.
Well, if it's going towards that way, Brown needs to get a second Stargate soon, because now Zest caught up in the Phoenix count, and he's producing 1 more at a time, while Brown, he's only sitting on 1 Stargate. And if both players go for the Phoenix, Zest is going to win the game. I mean, he's going to win the air battle, lift up everything else, and pretty much finish the game.
So it's a little bit concerning to not see a second Stargate out from Brown. I would expect a player that's been playing StarCraft as long as him to instantly go for that, but maybe he has something else up his sleeve. Oh, that's actually so smart, adding in Hallucinated Phoenix into his army. That's gonna, if the Phoenix attack the weak one, or he puts it like ahead of the other ones, then he's gonna be able to use that to essentially eat up the first volley.
Yeah, so now here goes Brown. He's getting a second Stargate out, and now he matches the Phoenix production. But the sheer number, Zest is far ahead, and there we go, a perfect choice by Brown, going for the Fleet Beacon, going for the range upgrade, even going for the +2 after the +1 attack air.
This is so smart by Brown. I see his strategy now. Basically, he believes that he can match his opponent's production for a small timing window, even if he's only on 1 Phoenix. They're simply, he'll have just enough to defend against an attack, and now he's going to get the second Stargate, he's going for the Fleet Beacon, and he's going to have a pretty solid economy as well. Both players are actually incredibly even on supply.
They are. Now, are the players going for the upgrades? That's one other question that I have right now. I haven't seen any upgrades on the production tab,
It doesn't actually matter in the Phoenix Wars.
I guess.
Yeah, there's, it doesn't really make a huge difference. They still take like the same amount of volleys, I think, the kill, if you get the upgrade advantage, but the range advantage, that is the biggest difference here. Yeah.
And even some players go for the Forge, go for the shield upgrade instead of any ground attack, just to make sure that the Phoenix stay alive for a few longer, and the ground units also get the buff from the shield upgrade.
All right, so now the Phoenix range upgrade is halfway done for Brown. It is just starting for KT Rolster's Zest, and I really wonder, actually we do have the +1 air attack for Brown, so it looks like he's opted to go for that. I guess if you have like a damaged Phoenix, and then it has like full regenerated shields, it can make a difference there. But like in a 100% fight, it doesn't really make a huge difference. So that can be the reason why he got it.
Well, at least if you have some leftover minerals or some economy, it's better to like, you know, get the upgrades here and there, just make sure that you don't die too fast.
All right, so the range upgrade has completed for Brown. Moving around the map, making sure that the proxy pylons can't do too much damage with the annoying warp-ins. That's something that we'll generally see later on in the PvP battle. And now more gateways are being added on for our KT player. He's going to be trying, I'm assuming he's going to just try to have a nice, essentially, backup plan in case his Phoenixes can't finish the game.
And Brown, he's being so smart, building a third Nexus while also putting down the cannons inside the mineral line. While Zest, he's not going to put the mineral cannons. Seems like he wants to cut a few extra minerals for a better army.
Actually, Zest has a supply advantage right now. It's 123 to 118, slightly ahead. It's 24 Phoenix to 21, though. The player who has the Phoenix advantage generally will win the game, but having that Sentry Shield is so important in these engagements here. It's going to definitely help your Phoenix survive a little bit longer over your opponent. Having that extra +2 armor does make a big difference. And now it looks like we have a bit of a skirmish here. Where are the Phoenixes from SK Telecom's Brown? They're moving in here. Both players afraid to directly engage with their Phoenixes, and now it looks like the first volley does go off. The second volley does go off on Brown's units, and I think that it's 22 to 25, very close. Where is the Sentry Shield? We need to see that from Brown, but the Nexus Cannon, it goes off, and now it looks like Zest is going to back off for the time being.
Now, Zest still has more Phoenix count, 24, and all he needs to do is wait until the Nexus Cannon finishes, and then he could try to pressure again. What that also allowed him to do is take up a third base, macro up easily without any pressure from his opponent, but did he actually see the Phoenix go off on the left side?
That's the real question. I don't think Zest knows quite yet. Now, Flash of an open map. Both players, they're just like, oh, what's going to happen here? Both players, it looks like they're still sticking on 2 Stargates. Now, haven't opted to take a third yet. I'm sure they will pretty soon here, though, because they have that additional expansion now. 63 the 51 probes, though. Definitely Brown more of an economic focus than his opponent. And it's like kind of ironic to see these fights here without the Phoenix. They're just kind of like sitting in the back waiting for the attack. But now it looks like we have a big attack going on. Volleys going off from both players here. It's like Star Wars with lasers going between both fights here. And it looks like 17 to 22 with Brown. Actually, you know, he's behind now, and he's losing so many Phoenix. 13 to 18. And I think that Zest is going to be able to win the engagement here, but he's not entirely confident, and I think he's not ready to fully engage here.
It's just like watching a Brood War Muta versus Muta, where you don't know how many Mutas your opponent has, and you're trying to slowly poke in. It seems like I'm winning a game, but I don't want to commit to it because I don't know how many Mutas he exactly has. You know, if he has one more than me, I'm going to lose the game right away. So that's why he's slowly poking up and trying to see if he can actually win the engagement. And once he's confident enough, he should just commit to it and finish the game.
All right, but the Zealots are going to definitely take out these Stalkers here. 11 to 20 Phoenixes. It looks like Zest is taking a humongous advantage here, and now things are looking quite grim for Brown. The continued pressure is potentially going to, you know, eat into his multitasking. Maybe he's going to be a little bit late on some Phoenix or Chrono. And now the third Stargate finishing up for Zest. He's just going to be able to completely dominate the air.
Yeah. One thing to notice is that Brown was never actually able to attack throughout the whole game. It was Zest who was always attacking and Brown who was always defending. And once you poke around so many times, you know, 9 out of 10 times you might get defended, but that one time you'll be able to push through. And it seems like Zest is trying to find that 1 out of 10 time to see if he can poke in. Seems like this is not one of them.
Now, ironically, the supplies are still very, very close between both players here. Zest just took a slight lead there, still quite far ahead in the Phoenix count. I think because Brown has been stacking up his Phoenix so well, it looks like Zest, he hasn't even realized how many more Phoenixes he has over his opponent.
And also, he's afraid of the Nexus Cannon. So now he's going for the Archons, and Archons can actually defend against the Phoenixes really well.
They can.
Yeah, back in Wings of Liberty, people are like, you know, it's a Phoenix Warriors until someone gets an Archon out.
The problem now is there are so many Phoenixes out on the battlefield, and I think that this may be it. This could be the final engagement. It looks like Zest, he's moving in here, going straight for that Nexus. Where's the Nexus cannon? There is no Nexus cannon, and now the volley's going off on those Phoenix. Both players taking huge losses. 11-19 though. The Archons have just completed. Those Phoenix are going to have to avoid them. The Archon's getting good splash off, but there are no Phoenixes left for Brown. He does have a lot of gateway units here though, and now Brown without Phoenixes. He does have the Archons, but he's going to lose so much economy now. So many probes getting killed off now. 49, 48, 47. More and more probes getting taken out. Essentially this entire base is now unpopulated.
You know, was that base saturated before the attack began?
Yeah, it was fully saturated. Brown had, I think, 20 more probes than he does now, essentially. So that is the power of the Phoenixes, and why even if you have Archons, sometimes you know, they're good against the Phoenix, but they're not the best at defending. So now what I feel Brown has to do is essentially he needs to attack. Now he needs to make something happen. He's going to just lose more and more workers, so it's up to him to make something happen.
Perfect. Going for the 3 Void Rays, knowing that the Phoenix War is over, he took the complete advantage, and all he needs to do is something that deals huge DPS and something that can kill the Archon.
Indeed. So with the Void Rays, he's going to be able to combat those ground units. That's kind of the power of Phoenix. They essentially lock out your opponent from going Void Rays, but if you're able to win the air battle, then you can go Void Rays. Oh, and now so many more probes are going to get taken out here. 32, 31, 30. The probe count is just slowly dwindling. 45 workers killed. 4 hit Zest at this point. That's absolutely insane. I think Brown, he has to attack now. He can't do anything besides attack at this point.
And it's still so hard. I mean, there's 4 Archons, but the Void Rays and Stalkers can actually... Really smart play by picking up the High Templars before they can morph into the Archon. And now Brown stitching his base. He's going to go for it.
Exactly. He has to attack, man. He has no other options. At this point, there's actually not a lot of defense at home. Now, this is the point where Zest has to be very careful. He can't lose too many units here. The Void Rays, using their charge, they're going to be able to tear apart the Stalkers, but the Archons, they don't have extra armor, so they're not going to take additional damage from the Void Rays. And now it looks like Brown is just going to go straight for that 3rd expansion there, taking it out quite fast, and it goes down immediately.
Now Brown is just saving a few minerals to make sure that he can make the probes later on, and also just using enough economy to back up his army. Now Zest, he's going to pull all of his probes, and it seems like he might be going for a surround from the back with the probes maybe.
I don't know how effective that will be, but essentially the only thing that Zest has to do at this point is buy time. If he can buy the time, then, you know, he's good. He'll win.
All right, so here comes the Phoenixes from the back, and Phoenixes need to lift the Stalkers while the rest of the army takes out the Archon, and then he will be able to win the game, no problem.
The thing is, there are so many Phoenixes that, theoretically, I think we could see lift on all of the units besides the Archons.
Did Zest ever make a Robo?
No, he didn't. I don't
because
think
here comes a Dark Shrine, and if Zest is not be careful, I mean, he doesn't have any cannons in his mineral lines right now. So, I mean, there's only 2 workers left, but he could still make 1 Dark Templar, and that could switch the game. But now he scouts it, and here we go. Brown is actually attacking in.
Brown's attacking in, but that's it. GG. He knows that just there were no units left, essentially. So, Zest showing that if you control the skies, you control the game.
Yes, Zest going for the double Stargate, and I think the biggest reason why Brown did not go for a fast 2nd Stargate is because he didn't see it. He was trying to scout with the hallucinated Phoenix, but he didn't see where the Stargate was, and he expected his opponent to be on 1 Stargate for a long period of time with the expansion.
Yes, Zest also getting more volleys off on the Phoenix ball than his opponent, so unfortunately for Brown, he lost his first game in Pro League, but Zest definitely a